Hey folks, today is Friday, November 17th, 2023. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. It's a bunch of stuff to talk about. I'm already out of breath even though we just started, but let's just jump in. The first story involves CD Projekt Red actually going on record about the Cyberpunk sequel, Cyberpunk 2, or whatever it's currently like Project Orion, but for now, shorthand, we're gonna refer to it as Cyberpunk 2, whatever it may be. Now, we've known this has been in the works, but most recently, the Quest director Powell Cisco went on record talking about the changes to Unreal and some of the challenges that come with that. So if you don't know, it's important to note that the next Cyberpunk game is not being developed with their proprietary in-house engine. It is being developed with Unreal Engine 5, something that we've talked about a lot that makes graphics very pretty. Ultimately, what a game engine means here is that the developers are switching tool sets, the tool set they use to make games. So now they're using Unreal Engine 5 for the next Cyberpunk game. With Powell going on record, he did say, and I quote, "We've been working for quite some time already at this point on Unreal," which is already a cool quote because you can assume that they've already been working on this new Cyberpunk for a minute. But he also goes on to say there's a lot of work to be done when it comes to the tool set specifically and so on, because there are so many, I would want to say, specific things that our engine was tailored for. He said that there is a lot of work to be done, but essentially the advantages of the Unreal Engine are very apparent while working on it, but he said it was too early to go into any more details about that. And he said, and I quote, "Working together with Epic is a completely new thing for us. It's a challenge for one thing, but also it's an honor." He says they don't understand the challenge as a difficulty, but more as an opportunity. So much space to actually do something awesome. But again, he did end it on, there is a lot of work to be done. So don't expect Cyberpunk 2 or whatever it'll be called anytime soon. But that was an interesting update about some of the development, the progress, and so on. So if you want to check out the full interview and everything I talk about this week, it's all going to be linked in the description down below. Oh, and in something I didn't expect to see this week, we got a big, lengthy update on Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, which, as you probably know, was shown off. Some people didn't like it a few months back, the way it looked, and the game was pushed for a while, and now it's releasing in February. So we have a new look at the game, and while it's hard to tell what exactly has changed, I'll say that from this video, the marketing somewhat has changed, or at least how they're showcasing the game. This is like the first of a series of developer diary updates. It's very flashy stuff, but it does show a lot of gameplay, and it highlights, in this one specifically, a lot of the traversal, some of the combat, and story elements. So they didn't really lean into the fact that there's like all this other stuff that could be kind of construed as somewhat live service type elements were not shown at all here. It was shown to be very much just a straightforward old single player or cooperatively played game. That stuff I think doesn't get messy until they start talking about the mission structure and how the game is designed to keep you playing. But here they stressed the traversal and really like all the cutscenes and the characters interacting together. And as someone who is skeptical of how the game plays, seeing the story stuff here, that's what I like to see, because I liked how Rocksteady really handled the DC universe before this with the Arkham games. So seeing that trend continue, but obviously with a little bit of a different spin, it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit more colorful because it's in Metropolis, not Gotham City. But tonally, it still seems like there's something, connecting. I like seeing that. I still have a lot of questions, and I know a lot of people are looking for this game to be completely changed and overhauled since when we last saw it, which the last video just felt like 4 characters flying in the air, co-op shooter style, just shooting purple bullets at everything. It kind of felt like weird, screwed up third-person Destiny. I don't know. It's too early to judge for me personally, but at the very least, I will say here with this type of game, while sometimes I like surprises, when I have a lot of questions about games, the more transparency, the better. If we're going to spend money on this, if they are breaking down how a lot of things work, and then we don't buy it and we're not surprised, I think that's good in this case because there were so many questions earlier on. But enough about that. I think I've talked for too long. So let's move on to the next story. I definitely want to know what you guys think about this one with Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Did this trailer turn you around? Have you been excited? Where are you at? Also, in some weird news, it almost seems like Konami is gearing up for even more Silent Hill. Yes, on top of the projects we already know about, like that weird thing that just launched. Andrew, can you put on screen what it is? I forgot what it was even called, but it just seemed not great, not really a game. But then we also know the Silent Hill 2 remake is coming. We know Silent Hill F or Silent Hill Forte, whatever it's being called. Silent Hill Townfall as well. But then Konami put out this message specifically trying to hire more Japanese game developers, game creators. This is them hiring for large-scale projects specifically centered around the Silent Hill franchise. So some people are speculating that like finally Silent Hill the message, which is kind of like a deeper thing, but regardless, whatever it turns out to be, it does seem like Konami is doubling down, really going all in on that property. I mean, they even talked about how there's a new movie in the works, so I assume they're ramping up a lot. What I'm curious to see is whether or not they do this with other properties. Like, are they just totally awakened? Are they going to do this even more with Metal Gear? Are they going to do this more with Castlevania? I mean, they should have done it for Castlevania a while ago with like the popularity of the next Netflix series, but we're just going to have to wait and see how that goes. Oh, interestingly enough, for my PC friends out there, CD Projekt Red, jumping back to them, they did announce that a mod editor is coming to The Witcher 3 in 2024. So The Witcher 3 still ends up kind of being the gift that keeps on giving, at least for me personally. So what we can see here is a more accessible way for people to get in and tweak the games. Mod and change and tweak what is already existing in the game, make their own quests, tweak things in the world, and that could be pretty sweet. Nothing else on it right now. It was just an announcement on social media, but this is coming for free in 2024. Hey folks, before we keep going, this episode is brought to you by our longtime sponsor, Vessi. Now, if you haven't been following or if you haven't seen a Vessi spot from us before, these are the go-to sneakers and shoes we've been recommending for a long time now. Not only do they have a bunch of different sizes, colors, options for everybody, but they're also comfortable, dependable, and 100% waterproof. Yes, thanks to the Diamond Tex material they have here, you can jump around in puddles, get messy, get a little adventurous. It's nice having your feet completely covered and waterproof. But thankfully, because of the material, your feet feel cool in the summer and warm in the winter. It doesn't feel like a waterproof shoe. But if you are looking for something for the winter, most recently, they have the Alta High Top. This bad boy right here. I'm glad Vessi has finally answered my prayers and made a proper high top, but this has a little bit more of a boot-like design for the winter. It's nice and cozy on the inside, but it still has everything you want from Vessi: waterproof, sustainable materials, comfort. To be prepared for the winter, you can rock the Overcast waterproof jacket that we've talked about in the past, and of course, a pair of Vessi's waterproof gloves. Yeah, everything is waterproof with them, but the gloves in particular just feel like regular old gloves. Your hands aren't going to get sweaty. You'll be able to text thanks to the tips. So at this point, if you can't tell, Vessi has you covered for absolutely everything. So if you're interested, all you got to do is click the link in the description down below or head to vessi.com/gameranx to score the best deal of the year. Go check it out, see what kind of pairs you like. Again, that's vessi.com/gameranx, and big thanks to Vessi for sponsoring our videos. Next up, some things I wanted to link in the description down below. Friday, Super Mario RPG is dropping, so I linked the trailer for that. It seems like reviews, people are really liking it. From the sidelines, I'm curious to see how the success of this one goes and whether or not they start making new Mario RPG games once again. Obviously, they've dabbled and they've taken elements from the original Super Mario RPG, but like, what if now they just go all in on it for like modern Switch games? Who knows? But if you want to check that out, that is linked in the description down below. Also, a trailer for the console release of Teardown, and it's narrated by Owen Wilson, believe it or not. And this is a great trailer. What I really want to say is that if I was like 10 years old and you put that game trailer in front of me, I would say, I need to play that game immediately. And I think that's what they need to do here. I think that if like a kid nowadays who loves Minecraft saw that trailer, they would lose their goddamn minds. Tearaway, of course, has been like a thing for years, kind of bubbling up. This project has gotten bigger and bigger and more ambitious. So I really hope it gets its time in the mainstream sun. And I guess by them putting Owen Wilson in a funny trailer, maybe that'll work. Who knows? Kids love Owen Wilson. Do they? I don't know. But this is hardware week. The PlayStation Portal did drop. It seems like it's sold out everywhere, or Sony only made a couple, because we were going to buy one to make a video, like just a quick little first look, but we haven't gotten our hands on one yet. Still, there are reviews out there if you want to check that out. Also, the Steam Deck OLED is now a thing. People are trying to get their hands on that. We did get our hands on one. Valve sent us one, and we really liked it. We had to make a very quick video about it, but the overview essentially is that the battery is a little better, and the screen is massively enhanced. The OLED screen makes a huge difference. A lot of the buttons feel a little better, and there are some very slightly tweaked internals. You're not getting like overhauled new graphics or anything like that, but yes, this is a really good revision. It is not Steam Deck 2, but it's awesome. Then on like a less exciting revision, but still a revision, the PlayStation 5 Slim, we also made a video on that I will link in the description down below. I actually don't hate the new design. I like the modularity of it. I like how idiot-proof it is to take it apart, take out the removable disk drive, add some storage, and it is noticeably smaller, but you know, that's really the straight and narrow of it. And then I linked some interviews because a lot of people were getting mad at this. This is funny. Strauss Zelnick, Take-Two CEO, did go on record about a lot of stuff, like eventually using AI for NPCs in games. He didn't really totally go all in on that because he has kind of spoken out kind of against AI in other points, but he did talk about how they are very actively concerned about enhancing the experience of dealing with NPCs in games. But also during that same earnings call or investor thing, he did kind of allude to the fact that like games should cost more money. He said that like for what games offer, the amount of time, the amount of hours, what you're actually spending is a bargain. I know a lot of people do not want to hear that. He did also say that that does not mean they're setting a price point or anything. They're just saying that that's what makes them special, is that they'll give you all this video game only for the small, low price of $70. That's me being sarcastic. I have to say that I'm being sarcastic in videos because sometimes people don't catch it. So yeah. So if you want to read those interviews, linked in the description down below. Also, I didn't mention it last week. I'm a bad Yakuza fan, but like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name is out. It seems like people are really digging it. I just like seeing Kiryu return. He's the best. Like one of my favorite video game protagonists. I'm dying to have time to play this at some point. But with this, the studio head, Masayoshi Yokoyama, talked about Infinite Wealth, you know, the next Yakuza game centered around Ichi. He said, and I quote, "This is a monster class game, longer than anything we've made so far." This means that a lot of people are going to hesitate to play the game or will end up having it wait on their shelves. I found the possibility of that kind of outcome sad, so I thought we have to get everyone hyped up enough to play it. We have to get people to play the game in about a week or a month, even at the cost of their health, which is why it's our duty as creators to generate enough to be excited about. I've thought this way for the past year or two. For a game like Infinite Wealth, we have to get a festival going on. It would feel kind of rude to just drop such a long game and be done with it. I thought that was a kind of funny, interesting quote, kind of like, it's such a long game. If you play it all as fast as you can, you might get sick or sacrifice your health. And that's pretty funny. Also because as much as I like these games, they always feel extra long to me. I know they're all kind of all over the place from like 30-ish to however many hours, but the way they're paced, they feel a little slower, so it takes longer. So for Infinite Wealth to be the longest one, that is pretty daunting. Still, I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. Also, can't forget Nintendo. I did link their indie showcase in the description down below if you want to get caught up on that. No Hollow Knight Silksong release date or anything crazy like that, but we did get a look at a new Shantae game, which is pretty cool that's like coming back. Also, for some of you waiting, The Outer Wilds is going to drop on Nintendo Switch. And then in another news bit I wanted to highlight that's kind of interesting, we've talked a lot about patents in recent weeks, and Insider Gaming got this scoop on a Sony patent around you kind of being able to do TiVo for your games. Now, I know we've heard that before. Essentially, games letting you replay from any point you want at any time. You know, sometimes the Sony card system on the PS5 will let you jump to certain things, and some games have built-in features, but essentially this patent seems to allude to a system-wide experience that lets you essentially drop start and stop points in a game anywhere you want and then access them and replay them as much as you want. That, I think, is really, really exciting. That is something that I would take advantage of on a console for sure. The ability to instantly reload and maybe even just play one chunk or one little cutscene or one part of a boss battle over and over again, either to make videos or to just relive something really cool. There's actually a lot of potential there. So I just wanted to point that out because a lot of times when we hear game companies making patents, it's usually just like more weird shit they want us to buy or some way to kind of, you know, quote unquote ruin games. I think this is something creative. This is some good thinking, and I hope to see this feature somehow be implemented one day. But if you want to read up on it, again, linked in the description down below. Everything is there. But that's it this week. We got to go back to work. More to talk about, but that was the news we wanted to get you caught up on this Friday. You know we're here for you forever at this point. We've been doing it forever. So if you like this, clicking the like button does help us. Thank you. But really, I want to hear from you guys in the comments. We're always going to have that pinned comment asking you what you're playing this weekend for our research. But the news stories, what's on your mind? Do you like that Sony patent idea of being able to create your own little points and play wherever you want? Have you experienced that already in a different way that you already like? Are you excited for a Witcher 3 mod editor? Are you going to do something weird and crazy in the world of Witcher? And of course, what do you think about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League now? Now that we've seen a bit more of it, are you still feeling the same way? Are you excited? Have you always been excited? Let's talk about this stuff. Again, if you want to find me directly, you can find me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. Just look up Jake Baldino. But thank you guys for being here. Have a great weekend. Be safe. See you next time. Pizza's on me.